For the next few videos, I'd like to try my hand at showing some game room decoration ideas I have, specifically wall decor. When it comes to decorating, I'm way behind the curve. Currently, I only have one game room poster, and it's my glow-in-the-dark Super Metroid print that I've shown before. I own a few other posters, like these retail signs, or these Club Nintendo exclusives, but I haven't made it a priority to post them for one reason or another. And unlike when I came up in gaming, when my most available option was a monthly Nintendo Power poster, today you have countless different wall items to decorate with. Posters and prints, banners and cloth flags for basically any video game or beloved franchise, both officially licensed or fan-inspired or even custom printed. My DIY projects may not be able to compete with everything that's out there, but since they're custom, they are certainly unique to me, and in the sharing I hope I can spark a creative urge in you. There is one wall decoration that I've wanted to make for a couple of decades, and it's been on my video idea list since my first video idea list. It's an idea that's simple on its surface, but ultimately I found it's flawed in concept. Since fundamentally this is a show about sharing ideas, I'm going to take you through my thought processes, the simple facts I overlooked, and show that even on a path towards failure, there are still things you can learn. At one point in my past, I owned a large cinema poster light box. It would have been really cool to have installed it, but it was meant for retail store use, so it was too large to easily wall mount in any of my apartments. It ran on fluorescent tubes, and I never had the proper media to display in it anyway. Since I couldn't use it, I eventually gave it to an artist friend to use as a makeshift tracing desk. But I've always wanted a smaller scale version to display video game art on my game room wall, something like a lit picture frame. If you followed my other projects, you'll know that I like creating game room improvements that come directly from my color printer. I had always assumed that having a light box sized for printer paper would open up a world of display possibilities. The prints that I can make from internet pictures or from my emulator screenshots, like this Sonic title screen, seem a little more boring in print than on a screen. Obviously, a printout isn't animated, but I also imagined displaying them as backlit wall art would better imitate how they look in their natural state. And printing the art myself would mean that I could have new art displayed at a whim. I've even found backlit frames, but I should be able to make one pretty easily and probably spend less doing it. I mean, it's as simple as a shadow box frame with a light inside, right? How tough is that? Well, a little tougher 20 years ago than now. Even as recently as 5 years ago, I was still playing around with the idea, just before I started to find LED strip lighting not only being more readily available, but at more and more affordable prices. So this will be a tutorial on how to make a document-sized lightbox, right? Well, not exactly. There are a lot of other lightbox tutorials on the internet and YouTube that we could learn from, and using today's materials, it's pretty easy and can be cost-effective to accomplish. But my concept has innate flaws that have recently come to light, so to speak. So instead of creating a project and tutorial and glossing over the problems, let me explain what I've learned. The flaw in my idea was a naive understanding of paper and lighting. I'd simply assumed that printed paper would be a good medium to be backlit, but this isn't really the case. Since the unprinted side of paper is white, it gets averaged with the image on the front, and the end result is a dull picture with washed out colors. It took making my lit question block paper decoration for me to figure this out. The color issue can be overcome by printing the image again in reverse on the back, but this becomes its own hassle with alignment, not to mention ink usage. Plus, even the most premium printer paper has an uneven fibrous makeup that becomes visible in the light. It has none of the smooth evenness of proper backlit print material, which is usually a printed acrylic or translucent vinyl, and I have no way to replicate this at home. Even printed transparency material is a pale substitute for the right thing. And needing to contact a specialty online printer or run to a sign shop whenever I want a change of decor eliminates the simplicity, spontaneity, and, frankly, the thriftiness that the project was supposed to be built on. I'm not implying that the idea has no merit. Backlit paper can be used to cool effect, it just doesn't quite measure up to superior options. And there are other reasons for me to abandon this idea. Unlike when I first conceived it, today's market has an abundance of boutique lighted game room decor, including wall art. Awesome faux neon signs, arcade marquees, LED strips to define the edges of the room, lots of RGB items and accessories. My idea is from a time before all these superior aesthetic options. And there's another innovation that almost renders a lightbox irrelevant: the flat screen. With a mind towards my original desire, I watched the digital photo frame market expand and shrink, and I watched flat screen TVs and displays go from a science fiction fantasy to an impossibly out of reach expense to the most ubiquitous tech of the 21st century. We've reached a point where it's not very complicated nor unthinkably expensive to install wall-mounted monitors to only showcase posters or other game room art, and I know some already do this. Even something as low-res and uncomplicated as the Davoom Pixoo gives a more dynamic lit game room display than I could hope for from a backlit piece of paper. If you already have a backlight picture, poster, arcade marquee, or can buy or produce one made the right way, then it makes a lot of sense to make a light box specifically to display it, and I'd like to know your experiences. I see plenty of people in my social circle adding them, and it's hard not to get jealous. It's just that for me, my original plan had such a limited scope, it didn't pan out, so I'm moving on. But I don't feel like I can end this video without at least one attempt, so let me show you what I have to bring this idea to light, at least once. Most do-it-yourself light boxes use LED strips as the light source, and one thing you have to account for is making sure there are no lighting hotspots. This is usually helped by even spacing, using a reflective backing like aluminum tape, keeping a gap between the lights in the front, or even adding a diffuse material to help scatter the light. But I found one single item that solves all of these problems. It's a simple, firm plastic panel that provides nice, even LED lighting throughout. Coincidentally, this is an LED light tracing board. I got this on an Amazon Lightning deal for around $15, which is much less than I could hope to make something similar for. This one is sized for A4 paper, again closely matching my original plan. By using this one item, the project is already nearly complete. This has such a slim profile that it should nearly fit into a normal frame, no thick shadow box needed. But unfortunately, this one doesn't fit cleanly into a standard size frame, for instance this 11x14. It's just barely over 14 inches long, so it can't fit in without modifying the frame or making a custom frame size. Amazon has other light pads that might fit better, including one that would seemingly fit well in a 16x20 inch poster frame. In case you have any interest, I'll have these links below. Speaking of a poster frame, we have this one we received as a housewarming gift about 15 years ago. It's a very nice frame. In fact, it's a bit more opulent than our tastes, and we've never quite concluded what type of picture would be most appropriate to post in it. That's too bad, since it looks like it's gotten a little scratched up in storage. Its unique curve reminds me of a CRT screen, and I've long joked that I was going to ruin this frame by hanging a poster-sized screenshot of Pong in it. I think I'll pair this frame with the light tablet, and by sheer coincidence, the front and rear mat of this frame are two transparent sheets, so this should work well. I'm going to order a custom poster for this frame, but not Pong. I'm designing posters based on classic arcade game screens. Some companies offer double-sided poster printing for backlighting, but I'm going with typical single-sided for this example. The idea being that the overwhelmingly black backgrounds will help the areas with color pop better, and perhaps the poster overall will not appear to be as washed out. We'll see. So let's give this a shot. First, I'll mount the LED tablet to the wall. This tablet runs on USB. For this example, I'm using a power bank instead of plugging it in, but on this specific model, I couldn't do this permanently since it draws power in both the on and standby state. But this whole display is temporary. I'm only putting this up for the video. Now I'll center my frame over top of the pad. I'm expecting to have a lot of light leak around the edges, but again, I'm just treating this as an experiment. That looks pretty neat. Now let's turn the light on. And I'm impressed. Even with the mentioned shortcomings, I have to admit that this looks quite a bit better than I anticipated. I have other long-term plans for these posters, but it's always worth seeing an idea through to the end, at least once. Ultimately, this video was just meant as a way to purge this project from my YouTube to-do list and clear my mind of this nagging want. My hope is that someone finds some usefulness in it somehow. I will be moving on to other decorating ideas, and with this out of the way, I have many more things to show you. How about next episode I take you through how you can design arcade-inspired posters like these? And these posters have sparked other ideas for future episodes. I think we have a couple of exciting months ahead, so please subscribe to follow along. Ring the bell, comment, share. Everything you do helps me know my time making these videos isn't being wasted. Thanks for staying until the end. Stay safe and take care.